Welcome to another episode of the Callum Dunlop podcast. I've been waiting very long for this one. Joined by my good friend Brad Howard. Welcome to the show.
Nice one, mate.
Yeah, so I've been excited for this one. Your content, even from when we met last year, resonate with a lot of stuff that you post, you talk about. Something I just feel like we're both really into: fitness, mindset, lifestyle, personal development. So I'm excited for this one. So let's just kick it off with a little bit of an intro about yourself, where you're from and kind of where it all began, and we'll go from there.
So I'm Brad Howard, 38, 39 this year, from Manchester, Salford. Proud to be from Salford, don't live there no more. And now obviously live in Spain. So yeah, mate, I mean, from early, I've always been into fitness, mainly football. Played at a decent-ish level, semi-pro. And then also at the side of that, then I ran my own events company, which is 15 years of my life, which was a bit of a madness, bit of a blur. Don't get me wrong, I had some of the best times of my life, met some amazing people, and times that I'll never forget. And I now do believe that those times now have made me into the person who I am today in terms of making that transition. Now I do believe if you're ever going to get anything out of the way, get it out of the way when you're young, which is what I did. Well, I say young, I mean, I was late 30s, so not so young, but it was, it was just a mad phase. I mean, that's how I earn a living. And anybody who kind of looks at that and you get paid to party and everything else is, I mean, it's the dream job. But yeah, I was just still trying to find myself. I was young. I mean, I wasn't experienced. Didn't really have many life skills as such. Like, I just got through straight into it at the age of, say, 19, 20 and went from there, really, mate. And yeah, here we are today.
Well, yeah, you've done events, modeling. Now we're a world championship qualifier for Ironman, a man of many talents. So kind of just give me a little bit of a background of how you got into the event side of things, because all these things are all more linked than what we think, because social skills and so on. So tell me, where did that
Do you know what? It's weirdly enough, I was speaking to my pal about this, and we were saying about how do you believe you earn your right to be doing what you was doing, kind of saying was there much talent involved in it, and I'm like, listen, don't take that away from yourself. You don't just get given a night, and to fill a club, you have to have that presence about you, and you've got to be a bit of a social butterfly, which is exactly what I was. I was pretty much going out anyway, but then I was going out and earning a living off it. So yeah, you have to have them social skills. You need to know kind of who to be in around. Again, it was a business, but it was a business that I was going out spending money, and then it flips at around 20 years of age. And I remember it was coming up to my 21st. I did my 21st at a club, and the general manager then pulled me in and was like, do you reckon you could fill this again? And this was at a time when Facebook was there was events pages on Facebook, but there wasn't really a name for it. And then obviously the promoters started to come into play, and there was only one other girl who I knew who was doing a night on Deansgate Locks, and I said, do you know what, I'll give it a go. Anyway, the week after, mate, did this events page on Facebook, rammed it out, 800 people, and then just it went from there. So every week, then every Friday, I had a night at Relish. We had Fridays, we had Saturdays, we had Tuesdays, we had Thursdays, and we were, well, I say me, I was the man about town, do you know what I mean? But I already was anyway. And then it kind of just comes to a bit of a point where you're doing all right for yourself, but as amazing as it was, when I now look back at it, I'm an all or nothing guy. So if I'm going out a weekend, mate, I'm out. And I could be out for 2-3 days. So by the time then you've recovered, it's weekend again, and years just go by, and yeah, you've done amazing, and you're doing all these nights, and you blah, blah, blah. But really, I didn't really have much to show for it.
Yeah, and I know the feeling, something that I've been there many times myself. But let's touch on from where you are now to where you were before. So obviously fitness has always been a big pillar in your life, right? So tell me, when you were in the party days, going out, doing all these things, was there that little burning desire in your head where you're like, oh, like this is taking me away from the fitness, or were you just like happy trying to like juggle the both at once?
Well, I was kind of just mixing everything up. Obviously, I always trained. I always kept fit. Played football. I was at FC United for a few years, but was still doing the events. But I kind of just thought to myself, listen, if you want to go heavy on something, yeah, you need to give it it all. So I was dipping in and out of both. So you're never really going to excel in anything if you're in and out of things that are kind of holding you back. And obviously, drink, drugs, everything else that comes with it, it doesn't match. Do you know what I mean? So then, I stopped doing the events. Like even when the events were at that kind of bit of a high, because I just thought I need a new path here. But that didn't happen. I stopped doing the events, but then still continued to go out. So none of it made sense. And then the real change, the real shift for me was the second year of the lockdown. The first year battered it. Second year kind of just, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember looking at myself in the mirror. I had a bit of a cry to myself and I said, shit's got to change here now because this is not good. Like you're going down a dark hole. And I noticed that myself. And I believe other people around me noticed it as well. But for me, if you're not willing to change, no one can tell you to change and when to change. You've got to be ready to do it for yourself. And that's what I did. It took me a bit of time. And from that day, mate, I never looked back. And I remember I entered just as a bit of a challenge, my first sprint triathlon at Media City. Didn't have a clue what was going on, turned up there, didn't have a wetsuit, couldn't swim. I knew how to ride a bike from being a kid. I could run, but I wasn't a runner. And I remember finishing this race and I had my family there and the feeling that I got, that dopamine rush. And I just thought, wow, that's special. I need that. And then from there, mate, that's when I really started to take it serious. Got a coach. And then, since then, mate, I've done 4 70.3s and just completed my first full distance in the space of 2 years and qualified for the World Champs in Nice in 6 weeks.
Insane. And that's what we're going to talk about. And something that I really just noticed about what you said there, and that's what the beauty of the all or nothing mindset is because it's funny how life works, right? You know, maybe when you, like you said, you were going out in the party days, going to the clubs, you were all or nothing. When you're out. But that's why you've been able to get to where you are now so quickly in something that's actually adding value to your life. So tell me about, like, what was kind of like that moment where you, maybe like you said, you did the first triathlon in Media City where you were like, there's legs in this. Like what was that moment where it just clicked? And
so after finishing the first sprint, I got the bug for it, but I was still kind of like in and out, still going out and still fucking about, you know? And then I entered another race called the Rock in Wales, which was a little bit different to a triathlon. I was summiting Snowdon, I was doing a 1,500 metre swim, 90k on a bike, and then a 1k sprint finish. And then I signed up to do a 70.3 in Nice. This is why it's a mad 360, because now I'm going back and competing in a world championship race. Ooh. So 2 years ago, I went to Nice, did my first 70.3, completed it in 6 hours. Again, novice, didn't have a clue, but loved it. Loved the whole journey, started documenting it. Started ticking off and thinking, okay, now I'm doing all right here. And it kept me on the straight and narrow. Completed that. Then I did another 70.3, completed that, took half an hour off my time. Then invested into a better bike. Then obviously at this point, I've got a coach on board. Then you see your fitness. And then you see everything else building around you, your mindset. And then completed another 2 70.3s. And then, a little injury along the way. And then did my full distance.
I think it's very interesting, and this is one of the reasons why, I've been so excited to get you on, because I really resonated with everything that you talk about. Like, obviously, I'm a few years younger than you, and I look at, your story and where I'm going. It's very kind of similar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just a little bit older than me and more ahead. And I find it interesting because a lot of people, when they, do what we've done, like the party, going out and so on, the social butterfly, they usually flip into fitness and they'll go for like the physique or the martial arts or that side of things, which I've done. Yeah, what made you go into this like side of fitness? I find it really interesting.
Do you know what? It's funny you should say that, because I remember seeing somebody do a triathlon, right? And I thought, that looks exciting because it's 3 disciplines, so you're not just doing one. And at the time, I couldn't swim. I was an average biker and I was okay at running. So I thought, right, I've got to master all three here. To be like, in the back of my mind, I knew that one day I'm competing here. Like, I'm not just doing this just to dip my toe in it and then never do another one. I'm doing this because I genuinely believed at a time, if I put enough time and enough effort into this, I can make a living out of it and also change my life. And that's what I did. And I do believe going into endurance, like, for me, people have their own reasons. I love the pain. I love the feeling of what I get from it. I love the discipline that it brings into my life. You can't cut corners in this sport, you know, like, not if you want to reach the high heights. Like, you've got to do everything. You've got to be militant in what you do. And that's what I did. And like you just said there, in terms of being all or nothing, like, I was relentless from the minute I said to myself, these are the goals I want to achieve. The way I'm going to achieve it is by staying completely locked in every aspect of my life. Diet, training, who I chose to chill with. And the results show.
Oh, 100%. You've went from 0 to 100 so quickly. So many people always say to me, like, if I was to try it, I'd just get the bug straight away, because I love the running side of things. Done marathons, half marathons, ultras, trail runs. So I want to try. I'm going to give it a go, I think, when I get into the 30s.
Amazing.
But I want to know, what do you think is the hardest one to master and why?
So the hardest discipline to master, unless you've swam as a kid, yeah, swimming is the hardest discipline to master. Yeah. Facts. Because I say to people, because this question gets asked a lot, you can be the fittest kid in the world, fittest male, fittest female in the world. If you cannot swim, yeah, it don't matter how fit you are, you're not getting saved. Like, it's such a beautiful technical sport, and the only way you're getting better at swimming is spending time in the pool. That is it. Like, I remember, like, I couldn't even swim 25 meters. Now, in my last race, I've just nearly swam 4K, like, continuous front crawl, and that's because I've put the time in. Like, you've got to get comfortable in the water. I invested into a coach just to perfect the technique, and I think as disciplined as swimming, you're always learning. So yeah, swimming is the hardest one to master. It's kind of get in, get out. But yeah, listen, you can get better at all three disciplines, and that's the beauty of the sport. You're always learning.
Let's talk about the pain, because what you said there is so true. That's something that, you know, I always talk about, and I actually filmed a podcast the other week about this, and we were talking, and I think as men, sometimes most people, when we look at pain, we're just told to shy away from it. It's not good. But as men, I actually think that we need to look for the pain, like
100%.
more, and that's what's gonna. Because on the other side is the thing of pain, is the thing that you're trying to seek. And sometimes in life, I was talking about this recently. I was getting too comfy, and I was like, I just need some pain. Like, and there's little things I'll do in my day, if it's even hit the floor as many push-ups as possible, get out in the evening for some hill sprints to humble you, to just make you feel that pain, to push forward. But which one of them are you in the pain cave, where you're just like, and you're feeling it so much, but it's like where you just feel at home and you're like, I'm loving this? Is it the swimming? Because
nah, mate, I felt it in a weird way. Yeah, I'm just going to refer back to the full distance, with obviously it being my first full, which, listen, that's when you're an Ironman, when you complete a full distance race. That's the race. So the swim, I enjoyed the swim in a weird way. I had a serious strategy before I went into, with it being my full. I had a coach, my mate, and he said, listen, let's attack it this way. It's your first full. You don't know how you're going to feel. So I purely went off heart rate. Now, it's very hard to judge your heart rate in the swim, because you're swimming to, sometimes you're swimming to survive, do you know what I mean? But my goal was just get into a nice rhythm, keep the cadence fairly high, get in, get out. Anyway, I swam it at 1:15, which I was happy with, and it's marginal gains in the swim. And then obviously, I've got out, I've done T1, which was 5 minutes, which I was okay with. Then I've got on the bike. Now, the strategy on the bike for me was to keep your heart rate around 135. So don't chase watts, don't chase power, don't chase speed. Just stick at a 135. Now, obviously, that then allowed me to be in a comfortable enough zone for me to have fresh legs going into the run. And it worked amazing. Now, no race is ever perfect, but I do believe it was not far off. So I've done 5 hours, 9 minutes on the bike. Then I've got off the bike straight into T2, is obviously you taking your shoes off, your helmet, putting your trainers on. And I remember starting the run, and I was in the village, and that's the first time I'd seen my family and my mum. I got a little bit emotional, but it kicks you on. And then I remember starting the run thinking, I feel fucking amazing, which was a beautiful feeling because you can overbike. This is why it's such a strategic sport, because you can overbike, you get on the run and you're fucked. Whereas I felt amazing. I felt like I'd just warmed up. 20k in, felt amazing. 25k in, still felt okay. And I remember it very clear, 29k, and I thought, right, what are you about? And then it's UVU, mate. And for that last 12, 13k, you're in a battle with the brain. Yeah. But for me, I knew I'd done the work. I knew the nutrition was bang on the day. I knew that these were going to work. The only thing that was going to stop me was this. And I know I've trained this now. I'm mentally there like I always have been and I always will be. And that was overriding anything. So, yeah, we completed it, mate. And we did the marathon in 3:22.
Wow, 3:22.
Yeah, off the bike, which was, it was amazing, man.
That's insane.
Yeah, I was buzzing with that.
If you were to do a marathon solo, just a marathon, what do you feel like you could get?
I believe I'd get sub 3 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I believe I'd get sub 3 hours, definitely.
I want to set out this year, that's my next goal for sub 3:15 marathon. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Listen, mate, you put the time in, anything's achievable.
I've done one before, 3:31, but I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I need to go for it.
That's
again.
the thing for me. If you're setting yourself goals, and you've got a plan, and you stick to the plan, and everything goes right in the block training, like leading into it, listen, not every race goes to plan in terms of you don't know what's in front of you. You might get injured, who knows? But if you know you've done the work, you've given yourself the best chance.
Exactly, because that's what gives you the confidence. Because what is confidence is just by doing the things that you know that you're capable of doing, and you've just stacked up like that undeniable proof that you are the guy who you think you are, and then that's what gives you the momentum, the confidence in those moments. And something I just really want to touch on there, because a lot of people that genuinely don't understand when they see people like yourself doing all these events, and it's like, well, he's been putting the work in, and no wonder he's doing so well. But like what you mentioned there before, the work will only get you so far. It genuinely comes down to like
100%,
the mind.
50%.
It really is. And what's like one of the main things that you say when you're really in that pain cave that you try and tell yourself to just keep going? Like, is there a particular thing?
I'll be honest with you, mate. I just say you're the fucking man. You're the man, mate. This is who you've said you are. So make sure you stand by that. And I just, every time, mate, you've got to use with that confidence, because if you don't believe that that's achievable, and you're not that person who you project that you are, no one's going to believe it. I called what I was going to do before the race, and I went and did it. Yeah. And that's because I was that confident in myself, because I knew I'd done the work. Like, even the night before, I went into full switch off mode. I remember turning my phone off at around 8 p.m. and I thought, I'm not touching that now until the race is completed. Zero distractions. I zoned out. I got in the van in the morning. I got to the race and I was so calm. And the reason why I feel like I felt the way I felt, the most calmest I've been, and bear in mind this is my first full distance, is because I know, Brad, you look back in the past 6 months, you ain't missed a session. You've done everything bang on. So if everything goes to plan today, in and around you, you're completing this goal. So I was super relaxed, and then obviously started the swim. The guy comes on the tannoy and he does his speech. They have all this emotional music, and I'm already crying, mate. But I'm buzzing that I'm crying because I use that as fuel. Them emotions fuel me. So I remember just about going into water, thinking, "Fucking hell, sort yourself out here!" And bang, mate, I was in the water, and then we took off and they've completed what we did.
That's amazing, and it just shows you about like how you just have to do what you know that you got to do to give you that sort of confidence, because like you said, you knew before that race that you were going to achieve it, which is amazing. But it's just because you'd stacked up that proof that like, I am this guy. Yeah. I want to, because there's a few things that I've really noticed through this conversation that what you spoke about, and we're going to touch on it in a second. But before, I want to ask, like, what was the one big difference that you noticed between the 70.3 compared to the full distance? Obviously,
you know what? Two completely different races. I've never felt pain as I felt on the last 12, 13k of the full distance marathon, but the 70.3s are tough because you're just in an all-out zone 5, flat out from get-go. That was the plan for me anyway. I was just not letting off, mate, from the minute I started in the water till the minute I finished. And they're tough. Obviously, everybody has different goals. You can You can complete a race and go through the motions, which is completely fine. Like you say, I wanted to compete. I wanted to qualify for World Champs race. I want podium races. So I know I've got to be giving it everything. So the difference in the races is one's full aerobic. So you go in zone 2, zone 3. Obviously double the time, longer the days. I do believe your nutrition plays a huge factor in the day. I got mine bang on. I was taking 100 grams of carbs per the hour, and everything else. And I think that plays a huge part. But 70s and a full, 2 completely different races.
And I'm assuming, because this just leads perfectly on to my next question, do you feel like you would have been able to get the result that you did if you didn't have your coach?
No, not at all. And the reason why, I think having a coach is so important for many reasons. One, you don't have to think about your training plan. Yeah, it's like having it. It's clockwork. So it's like I treat it as a job. It is a job to me. So you know, on a Monday what you've got to do on a Tuesday. Yeah. So then you'll plan your day around your sessions. One, it holds you accountable. And my coach is very hands-on in terms of if you miss a session, he's on you. Yeah. And I don't miss sessions, but if I ever did, there's been times, no one's completely 100%. There's been times where I've not, and he's been like, what's happened? So too, I think the accountability is a huge factor. And obviously, you get people who've been in the game, who are experienced in the sport, so they know what they're doing, and they started themselves where you was, and now they're doing amazing things. So you know you're following the right footsteps.
Exactly, and you've already answered what I want to ask you. But let's touch on this more, because this is what I find so beautiful about this. And you notice that the best people in whatever they're trying to pursue have coaches. You're a coach, I'm a coach, but you have a coach. And people always go, but why? You're a coach. I don't get that. Because you're lying if you say you wake up every day and you're motivated. You're lying that you say that you know everything about everything. And the word coach is very broad. So I want to ask, like, before we touch into, your coaching business and stuff, what was like your decision-making process when you were trying to find your coach, and what would you say to someone who is in the market looking for a coach, and an important thing that they need to consider?
I actually met my coach. I mean, he was my friend anyway. When I say friend, I kind of knew him from my area where I lived, and I remember I crossed him on my first sprint. He was doing the standard distance, and I crossed him, and he was like, "Yes, Brad." I was like, "Yes, Toe." And then we just started speaking on Instagram, and he was like, "Have you got a coach?" And I said, "You know what, I've not, because obviously at this time I weren't really taking it serious, just going through the motions." I said, "But let's get something going." And since then, mate, we've been together, and he puts me in my place, and that's what I love. But there's days where we'll have conversations, I don't know, and then he might not, and then we'll just buzz off each other, like, "Well, come on, let's get it smashed." And then since then, we're now top pals. We do training camps together. He's also racing the Worlds. He got his slot before me, and we predicted it before Victoria Gasteiz. He said, "Mate, go there, get the slot, he's coming home." And I sent my other mate a message saying, "I'll see you in France." So I already had these visions. I was already visualising me being at this race. So I kind of already put it in place, mate.
Nice.
And I just thought, you know what? If I believe that that's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Exactly. And that's what the importance, I think, of, the fact that you're on this journey and you've got people so close around you who are on the same journey. Because, let's talk about, because people get coaches for different reasons. Genuinely, it could be down to the knowledge, like you said, the accountability, or just having that. Like, the quickest way to get to where you want to be in life is being around people who have done the thing that you're trying to do. And we spoke about this obviously off camera, when you're trying to get the new heights of life, right? Sometimes you got to just say, fuck everyone, fuck this, and just go and lock in and do your thing. So tell me a little bit more about, how you kind of dealt with that side of things, of maybe when you were on the pursuit of this new life, finding your coach, being around the new people that you needed to be around to get to the goal. And then, like you were kind of mentioning about, we have to remove yourself from certain circles, situations. Tell me a little bit more, the importance of that.
So I feel maybe making that transition scares people a little bit, because you're stepping into the unknown, and you have got to take yourself out of certain situations, whether that's people, places, and you do become a bit of a lone ranger for a bit, but that's not a bad thing. Don't be scared to spend time by yourself. People are scared to be alone. I think that's when you truly find yourself. And then over time, then you realise, like, you look back and I now just don't tolerate nonsense. Do you know what I mean? Like, I believe I've done the work. I'm nowhere near where I need to be, but I'm on the right path. And you just find peace in other ways. And then your circle then just gradually starts to find you. Your communication that you have with people just start aligning. And it's one of them, I always say, listen, you can give the best advice to anybody, but you can't bring somebody on the journey with you if they're not ready to come on the journey. They've got to find their own time to be ready. So yeah, don't feel bad for cutting people off. You got to do it. At the end of the day, you're doing it to better yourself. And then, yeah, just stick a goal in, stick many goals in, and just follow your dreams.
Exactly. And that's how I think your environment dictates everything.
Massive,
right?
mate. It's huge.
And you don't understand how much an environment affects you, until you leave it. So give me a little, obviously, like we're from here, we're in Manchester right now, out living in the beautiful Marbella, Spain. What was that moment of you were like, right, maybe I need to go somewhere else? And what made you pick there?
So I've always said from being a young lad, I'm going to live in the sun. Yeah,
Me too.
There's something about it. I love going away. I just love how relaxed the Spanish are, and it's kind of brought me back a little bit in terms of, like, I used to be very regimented in terms of, right, I've got to be out of bed at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to prove this, to prove that. It's not about that. Forget about proving now. It's about just being who you say you are to yourself. Yeah. So if I want to stay in bed now till 7, 8 o'clock, I'll stay in bed till 7, 8 o'clock. I know I'm still going to do the work that I've got to do that following day. So it's just about slowing things down. So yeah, making the move over to Spain, it wasn't really planned at that time, but I knew it was kind of like on the verge of, I knew I had to get myself to a certain place first, mentally, physically, emotionally, for me to make that move. And the plan was to go out there for a month. My best mate lived out there, one of Checo. He still lives in there, not far from the airport. He was like, just come and do a month out here. I thought, do you know what? Fuck it, why not? Packed a case. My old place was up here. Moved out there, mate. And within 3 days, I just thought, I need to stay here. And since then, mate, I just made it happen.
It's beautiful out there. It really is. And do you feel like it's what we were talking about off camera, it's like a perfect setup for what you're doing. Like, it's got everything for it. Was that in the decision-making process, or was it just kind of like with the Ironman side of things for the training and stuff? Like, because you've got obviously the hills, it's good for the running, you can do the swimming there. Was that in the decision-making? Or
the main reason why I went over there, yeah, was to be in the sun and not have the weather dictate whether I can go on my bike. Do you know what I mean? Or go and swim outside, or even go and run outside. But the main thing was, I remember I went just after summer, and it was a beautiful time to go. At the time, all the tourists had gone back home, so it was just all the locals and obviously people who lived there. So the temps was just, it was great to train. At the minute, it is quite hot, like 30 plus. Oh. So yeah, I went out there and I just thought I'll just train for a month, and I just thought, this is the life, mate. I felt like that was home within the space of 2 weeks. And now I do class that as home. Obviously, I'm back in Manchester now, but I don't class Manchester as home anymore, which I guess is a good thing. It because is. I wouldn't want to be there, living there, and be homesick. Like, that was the second part of my journey. Like, that's a new chapter for me. So it was, yeah, I treated it as a fresh start, and I'm embracing and I'm loving every second of it.
What, other than like the relaxation and so on about Spain, what's like the one main thing that you feel like it's done for you as a character and a person living in Spain?
It's made me find my true self. I remember at a time when I was probably 20, 21, yeah, I was this guy where I didn't really drink. I was bang on into the fitness just before I got into the nights. I was regimented in everything that I did. I remember I used to take me food, Tupperware, like everywhere, and I was on top of my game. You know, where you can think back to a time and think, yeah, I was the man. And that feeling come back around. And it was mad because I feel like sometimes you always go back to a place in the past that's where you felt at your best.
Yeah.
And that was like 10, 15 years apart, but I felt like that guy again, but just with a lot more experience. And I got hooked in it, mate. And I just thought, you know what, I've been led to live here. Like, this is who I am now, which is obviously now why I create the content and do the work that I do and speak openly about everything that's gone on, because I feel like people can resonate with my story, because I was living two sides of the coin. Like, I've been that guy. I've been a party guy. I've been a madhead. You know what I mean? I've been that person. I've lost myself along the way. I've had it all. I've lost it all. I'm getting it all back. Like, I've done it all. And I think you just do come to a point in your life where it's like, right, like, forget about age. Age is nothing but a number.
It is.
Do you know what I mean? Like, don't stress about that. Just figure it out. And that's where I feel like I'm at in my life now.
Yeah, and the thing is about Spain, I you know yourself, I love that place. It's probably my favorite or second favorite place in the world. You go out there, the energy, the people, the vibe, the food, it just, you feel different over there. You do, and like you said, it's a home away from home, because it's so close as well. And people, that's another thing, you don't genuinely realize how much like an environment can affect you, or just being in your hometown will just keep you in that comfort bubble. And when you go away, and I bet you look back and say, would you say it's probably was the pinnacle thing for you to just elevate then?
1,000,000%. Because listen, you can go places and get out alive. Like, I choose not to go certain places because, one, that's not me anymore. I don't live that life. I don't enjoy it. So everything that I do now, I do with purpose, yeah? I do for a reason. I train the way I train. I eat the way I eat. I live the way I live, because that's the person who I want to become. So you have got to do all the right things. And moving abroad for me was a fresh start. And I'd always been back and forth, living in Spain in terms of on holidays. And I always knew it was a place that was like close to my heart, yeah, but you got to be in the right place for you to make that decision. And I was kind of like on the verge, to be honest, and I just had that fucking attitude, and I thought, just go. If it don't work, you come back. But I was confident enough that if I stuck to what I said I was going to do, I would make it work, and we did.
Timing's everything as well. So let's talk about Endurance 360. Amazing. You started that, it looks like, scaling at a very fast rate, which is amazing. So talk me through what was like the thought process in that, and like where we kind of looking to take this over the next, say, year or so.
So within Endurance 360, I mean, it was again it was timing for me. I was kind of like coaching, yeah, without having a coaching business. Like, I'm one of them, me. Like, if someone wants advice and it's from my own experiences, I get satisfaction of giving someone advice of something that I've just taught myself. And I found myself just getting questions after questions after questions, and people then obviously saying, you're inspiring us to do this, that and the other, which then obviously it kicks you on to want to do more anyway. You know what I mean? If you're helping, like, I don't think there's any better feeling than helping someone. I genuinely don't. And then that's obviously then where I kind of just thought, you know what? We need to bring this into a business, and it was another reason to keep me. I got my visa. I wanted to do it maybe 3, 4, 5 months before, but I knew I needed a base first. Obviously, my visa took maybe 8 to 9 months to fully come through. Got my visa, and then from me getting my visa, I looked into setting up a coaching business, and it's been launched now 10, 11 weeks, and it's doing amazing, mate.
Nice.
It's in a very, very, very good place, and we launched mid-summer as well, which is a tough time, really. But I can't complain.
It's I want to touch on like some of the difficulties of scaling a fitness business, because, you know, we log on to Instagram, someone runs their first marathon and they're calling themselves a coach, right? It's crazy. And a lot of people think it's a lot easier than what it really is, and then they start it and they see the difficulty of what it actually takes to scale one. But it's amazing that, you know, you're saying there, because that is one of the big bottlenecks when scaling a fitness business, is genuinely down to the summertime, because a lot of people have the mindset of, oh, what's the point of getting in shape? It's summer. But I always say the right time to get started on your health was yesterday, right?
Of course.
So tell me, like, obviously we're going well. I'm seeing a lot of fast progress, but what's maybe one of the things that since starting the business that you didn't think that you were kind of going to run into, where you're like, whoa?
I mean, listen, it's relentless, but if you're doing something that you love and you're seeing results and people following your journey, a lot of mines come through from I'm inspired by your journey.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a lot of people like, listen, you're only getting coached, and you're only if you're not where you need to be, like, and it's that guidance and, like you say, that accountability. Some people are a little bit more advanced than others. There's all different ranges of levels of fitness, ages. Like, mine's not just specific, just one. Do you know what I mean? Like, mine's for all. So yeah, it's amazing because you meet all different types of people, different goals. And I said it before, I love helping people. I think it's a beautiful feeling to be able to do that. And then just the satisfaction that you get off doing that, off you just basically doing that, coming from a place from helping yourself. And I believe that that's kind of where people kind of resonate with me a little bit more, because of the journey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just about getting fit. It's about tuning your brain. And it's about making the right decisions. It's about having the right habits. Taking yourself away from certain situations, certain places, starting again. Don't be afraid to start again. Some people will get a bit ashamed by it, maybe even me at a time, where it's like, oh God, I can't admit that I'm starting back to where I was. Forget that.
I know.
You know what I mean? That should give you the fire. Like you said before about guys and girls, like, I get it. Like, you can sometimes feel a bit ashamed or whatnot, but listen, own it. Because it's the best feeling in the world when you know you're just being yourself, because then that gives you the fire then to get to them places where you know you can get to.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's going back to like what we were talking about, even about pain and how you view it in bad times. It's like you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself and use it as the victim mentality and keep you exactly where you need to be or where you shouldn't be, or you use it as the fuel to the fire and remind yourself that this is the day that I'm drawing a line in the sand and I'm going to use this as my why to push me forward. And
Correct.
That's what the beauty of I find in the coaching business, and I speak to a lot of clients when they're having a bit of adversity and they're, like, oh, why me? The back's up against the wall. And that's what I always try to preach to my clients is you need to rewire and how you're looking at this, and because it's actually a good thing. All the difficult things is the good thing. And you're gonna look back at those days and go, remember I was like getting on like that, and you'll go, look at me now, because you decided to use that as a moment where you're like, I'm going to use this as fuel to the fire and push forward. And that's what I think the beauty of coaching is like you said, it is so important for helping people. But like I took 3 people there recently to a photo shoot and they looked amazing and stuff, and I was like, I don't actually really care how they look.
Yeah.
It was what it done for their mentality. One was going through a pretty crazy traumatic event, and at the photo shoot he came up to me, and I'm not like a super emotional person, but he just said, he was like, Callum, I'm so grateful for everything that you've done for me.
Amazing.
Like this,
what feeling, man.
I know, and he was like, this kept me grounded and strong during a time that I really didn't think I was going to be able to, and I thank you for that. And he walked off, and I was just standing there, made the feeling I got in my body, and I could just feel a tear coming down my face, and I was like, shit, that's crazy, because it's a real nice feeling to know that you've had that impact on someone, to make them, because that's what the beauty, it's just showing people that they're way more than capable of, they're so capable of doing things that they don't think that they are. Because it's like what you spoke about earlier on, it's like if your mind taps out in those races, it's over before it even began. And it's
100%.
It's the same thing with most of these people. Like, they kind of know what they got to do and where they need to go, but and why they're doing it, but it's their mind that tells them that they can't.
Of course it is.
And when you see that moment of them really deciding to just go, right, I'm going to do this shit, it's beautiful. So how big do you think you can take this thing?
The coaching?
Yeah.
Mate, it's, to the next level, mate. Like, every week it's improving, we're improving, I'm improving. And another reason as well, it holds me more accountable to be the best at what I do. and to put the results out that I'm putting out and to stay consistent, because I'm not going to invest in someone if they're not doing the work. Simple as that. I'm not. So again, it holds me accountable. So I have my coach, then I have the people who rely on me to be this guy, and I love that. I love the pressure of that, because I say the pressure, but it's just like, this is what I know now. This is who I am, and if I can help you change your lives or give you the best possible start from me changing mine through endurance, through fitness, through health, through wellness, through making the right choices, then I will do that, because it's just things that I've learned along the way. Now, I'm not saying I'm this expert. I'm still figuring it out myself, but I can tell you what I did to get me to where I am, and then the rest is down to you.
Could you see yourself potentially niching down into like more like a particular market within the fitness industry that you want to target, or are you kind of happy to keep it quite a wide net right now?
Yeah, I'm happy, mate. I'm happy just to keep it as it is at the minute, in terms of like I've had all different kind of, obviously comes through and the lead from, and I get them to write a note, tell me what your goals are, where you're at, and there's a load of different ones. A lot of them's mindset, whether they're training for a marathon, whether they wanted to do a sprint triathlon, whether it's just a local 5k park run, or whether it's just general health and wellness, and they're just wanting to make better choices in life. So yeah, at the minute, mate, it's a big variation, which is cool for me, because at first I didn't know the direction, whether it just, because obviously I do triathlons, whether it just be triathlon based, and it's not. It's everything. So if I can help as many people as possible, that's my goal, because that's what makes me happy. Yeah,
I feel like the more your story develops, then your audience and your clientele will come to you even more. Like mine, for me, is just who I really love coaching is just men who have been in a bad place, going down a dark time, and I'm just like, you need to go head first into your personal development in the gym and working on your mind. Yeah, that, like I said, they get the amazing result on the outside, but it's what's actually happening in the inside. But that's where I just feel so much at home, because I was like, I've been there and lived every single situation that they're going through. So no matter what they think and how different their situation is, I can guarantee I've been there and I've helped them. But I just actually want to touch on that question, because you say, how big do you feel like the coaching business can go? But obviously, how big do you feel like your goals can go then with the Ironman, like with the qualification? Like, mate, what do you think's possible?
Listen, anything's possible. Like, that's how I look at life. If you want something enough, you can make it happen. Like, when I first set out in this sport, I had goals in place, and then the fitter you get, and the more consistent you get, and the more you fall in love with it, and the better the results, you then start to believe. Now, I look at things, people don't just get to where they get to by luck. There's no such thing as luck, mate. Especially not in endurance sports. Like, you've got to do the work. It's as simple as that. And if you do the work, the results show. So who knows? Like, I'm racing a World Championship race in 6 weeks. Now, that's the best in the world in my age group. What's next? Who knows what's next? I believe I could podium races. Could I potentially win a race? Yeah, I do believe I can. An age group race. Like, I'm realistic, but I'm also a believer in, well, if I want it enough, I'll make it happen. And I think you've got to. And people might look and think, oh, that's not going to be the case. Or impossible. Well, do you know what? Use that as fire. Show them that the impossible is possible, because it is.
Exactly.
You've got to just stick to the game plan and stay patient, because nothing happens overnight.
That's why I just love, like, even all these old sayings, we know them, but you can never be reminded enough. It's like hard work is always going to beat talent, and it's only going to get you so far. And that's the motto that I always live by. I might not be the most talented, but I will always say, I will outwork you. Like, while you're out on weekends or having your days off, I'm in the gym working, or I'm working on the business, or I'm working on my own mind. I'm willing to do the work when you aren't, and it might take me, and that's another thing. I actually want to touch on this, because so many people, and I really like what you've said there as well about starting over, because so many people are scared of it, but people put so much pressure on a time frame, and it's like, if I don't get to this goal by X, it's over. And then it's like they've just give up probably just before they're about to break through. And that's where it's like, I feel like with this side of things, it's, I always say, yeah, I might not be the most talented, you might get there before me, but with the amount of effort and the hard work that I'm going to put in, and the amount of self-belief that I have of myself, I will get there in the end. I don't care if you get there before me, because I'm going to get there. And I think that's what's so important as well. It's just about not being so married to that time frame of a goal. It's like, if it doesn't happen by then what's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Patience, mate. Like, patience is a virtue, mate. Patience is key. And this is what I've now started to believe more so as well. Like, I think a lot of people who want quick fixes never get to them points, because you want it overnight. You're not going to get it overnight. It's as simple as that. And the people who succeed in life are the ones who dedicate everything to one thing and put the work in. If you don't do the work, don't be surprised about the results. If you do the work and you get the results, you know that you look back. I think you know before any race, I'm confident enough that I can achieve this. And that's because you've done it. And I believe that that's key. Stay patient, do the work, the results will show.
It's hard to stay, I think what a lot of people struggle with is, it's hard to stay patient in a world full of distractions, right? Because everyone wants everything yesterday. And I like what you said there as well. You know, this is a real realization that I've had recently. Like, who's going to win? The guy who's all in on one thing, or the guy who's trying to do three things at once at 60%? You're just going to get outworked by that guy. But because everyone gets distracted by the shiny object syndrome and goes, oh, I might try this because it might get me to wherever quicker. And then they're just kind of going round in circles, and that's what's taking them so long. But I want to talk about just quickly on distraction side of things, because I know something we spoke about this off camera, shared it, and one of the things I really, it's actually how I used to watch a lot of your stuff, and your good friend Scott as well. Let's talk about the sobriety side of things. Something I did for a long time. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Talk me through how that kind of happened, and tell me a little bit more on it.
So, I mean, listen, when it comes down to sobriety, I don't preach sobriety. There's no right or wrong with it. Like, some people can have a balanced life, where they drink, but they drink because it's a choice. Some people drink because they're running away from the problems, which is what I used to do. So at the time, it wasn't a choice. So I knew that if I want to achieve certain things in my life, I need to take out what's bad and what causes me problems and what holds me back. Now, a huge factor of that was alcohol. With alcohol comes everything else. So I stopped drinking. Now, I didn't have a time scale on how long it would be. Anyway, it ended up being a year. I can confidently sit here now and tell you, in that 12 months of me stopping drinking, I changed my life. Facts. Then things started to come together. Then I started to feel a certain way, and I thought, wow, this is me. Was it easy? I made it easy because I took myself away from situations, from places. So yeah, I did find it easy. Do I think about it now? No, because I'm now a new guy. Like, this old guy, this version of me that existed, doesn't exist no more. So I did 12 months. And then I had a couple of drinks. And I woke up and I thought, it's not for me, that. It's not for me. And then after the race that I've just completed, I had a few beers. And you know what, mate? I'll sit here and say, I actually enjoyed it. And why I enjoyed it was this. There was a couple of reasons. My friends, my family was there. They was all boozing. I didn't even know I was going to even have a booze. I'd done another 12 months. And I had a few pints. And you know what? It was a celebration. But I enjoyed it. Have I thought about it since? No. So now I'm in that position where I now know that I'm in control of that. Yeah. That doesn't control me. I don't have to do it. It's now a choice. I chose to do it because I thought, do you know what? I like a fucking taste of a pint every now and then. Why not? Yeah. Back to basis. Tomorrow I'm back on job. And I had 6 or 7 pints and I was steaming. And I woke up the next day. And obviously I just completed an Ironman, so my body was battered. But my head was also a little bit sore, I'm not going to lie. But I put it down to the race. And And now, no, I don't think about alcohol anymore. And if I have a drink, I have a drink.
Yeah.
It's not a big problem because I won't fall into them old habits where I'm having a drink, I'm choosing to have a drink because I'm running away from 1,000,001 problems. You're running away from it for 24 hours, then your problems are times 10.
Yeah.
They don't get any better, they get worse. Whereas if you're choosing to, and it's a choice because I don't know, you want to celebrate with your friends, your family or whatnot, then that's fine. But I do believe anybody who wants to reach a certain height or give themselves a chance, cut alcohol out. However long you cut alcohol out for, if you want to never take and drink alcohol ever again, perfect. If you want to live a balanced lifestyle, I say balanced. I don't really believe in balance as such, but if you want to drink every now and then cool. Do what makes you happy. But if you feel that that's going to get you back into that old you, take it out completely. Erase it, get rid of it.
Yeah, I feel like I literally, what you said there, there's not one thing I don't agree with, because that's exactly my thought process. The same thing happened to me as well. But do you not feel like, because this is what the realization I came to, definitely both have all or nothing mindset, but do you not feel like you're kind of gifted that you can have that outlook on it now because you had the all or nothing? It was when you were doing it, you were probably one of the worst ones when you drank, but it's kind of easy for you to just like turn that off because you're like, well, it's all or nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's kind of helped you? Because some people unfortunately aren't as gifted like us in that sense, where it's like if they did do it again, maybe the old them would start to come back up again.
Well, listen, mate, I remember when I first did do it, I was kind of dipping in and out. I tried to do it a few times and then I couldn't, and then I just thought, right, have a word with yourself here now. Give yourself a chance. And the reason why I did it is because I signed up to do an event, and I thought to myself, I'm going to give myself the best opportunity here, because if I take this away from my life and I do this event, I now know there's no excuses. I've not missed a session because I've not been rough. I've not missed a session because I've ate shit. I've slept right because I've got rid of a thing that was holding me back in life. So yeah, I think I think over time as well, you kind of you forget about how alcohol and everything else that comes with it makes you feel. And I believe once you give yourself a good enough chance, I think it takes 3 months, and then you forget about how you felt, and then you start to buzz off how you feel and the way you are now, getting about in life, just in general. You're giving yourself that best chance. And yeah, again, going back to it, if you want to have a good shot at something, take out all the negatives. And that was my biggest negative, and it was the best thing I did.
Yeah, exactly, for me as well. It was the turning point that changed everything. But see, now it's, I used to really punish myself, like when I drink, I'd be like, Callum, you're an idiot, you're a loser, the negative self-talk. But see, now, like, I actually like to do it on purpose after I've achieved something, because I do it, it feels good, and then I associate it with, because like you said, I know it's not in control of me. I'm in control of it now, and that was the game changer. But then I like to do it because then I always feel ruined now, because I'm like hammered after 4 pints, and I go, same. Remember this used to be like the warm-up, and now it's like my whole night. And and then I feel awful, and I go, this is exactly why I stopped.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
keeps me pushing forward. This has been fire, Brad. I've really enjoyed it, but I want to ask, for anyone watching this, young male on the come up, has that burning desire in their head that they know that they're capable of more and they want to achieve something, what's like that one piece of advice that you'd give them to show them that they can do the thing that they're seeking?
Listen, if you think something's not possible, erase that out your brain. It is possible. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be determined. You've got to believe. Like, whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, whoever this person that you want to be exists, you're already that person. You've just got to believe. And over time, it will show.
100%. And even just touching on that, like, I always have like talked about doing this, wanting to do this podcast. And I just like maybe the imposter syndrome kicked in and stuff. And I remember I was like, I want to have people like yourself on this. And now it's here. And then you get there and it's a lovely feeling because you're just like,
listen, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing, mate. You should be proud of yourself.
I appreciate it. And it's so good to just meet like-minded individuals like yourself who are on the journey, on the come up, just trying to defy the odds, because there's not a lot of people that want to do it.
Mate, and also you got to understand this, like 2-3 years ago we wouldn't have been having this conversation because we wouldn't have been these guys. So it's easier now, like you say, things just align, and you attract the right people at the right times, and these are the conversations I want to have. I don't want to be talking about topics that I'm not interested in. Exactly. I want to be talking about who I am now.
Exactly. And that's what it's always important to be around people who are adding value to your life, just not taking away from it. And that's the piece of advice that I want to give is, you've already said it. It's like talking about all those days, maybe your party days, the things where you kind of hit the rock bottom, looking in the mirror, seeing the tear come down your face. It's like for someone who's maybe going through that right now, they're probably thinking, why me? This is the worst thing that's ever happening to me. But would we be able to have the caliber of conversation that we're having right now without those days?
No, mate.
Exactly.
No. Because you learn from those days. So if you are waking up any day and you're thinking, why me, why me? Turn that why me into, yes, I'm buzzing you chose me. Because now I've now got a reason to get out of bed and prove you fuckers wrong. Do you understand? Like, you've chose me because I'm the chosen one. So now I'll prove you wrong. Choose me again. Keep choosing me. You don't want a simple, plain sailing life. Like, you're going to have these obstacles. Once you've had one and you've overcome it, give me another. I'll deal with that as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I know you're going to love this saying. I saw something, I think it was on another podcast, and it talks about like you can judge the caliber of a man about, how they rewire their brain and how they view pain. So it's like you can judge a man off when they're going through the pain and how much pain they're enduring, and they're in that pain cave and they still have the smile on their face.
Yeah, beautiful feeling,
isn't it?
Listen, and that's the beauty of triathlons. Yeah. You're turning up to a race, yeah? This is what makes me laugh. And I look around at people and I think, say you're doing a race same as me, I'm looking at you thinking, you've been through it, you. Because you don't choose to do this. You don't choose to put yourself through this pain and pay for it, yeah? So you've been through something, so now you're my mate, because I know that you've overcome, or you're overcoming what you've been through, and you're here to better yourself. Yeah. What a beautiful feeling. Yeah. And that's why the sport is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait till I give it a go and hopefully get out to Marbella and you can show me the ropes.
Let's do it, brother.
Bro, that was a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you so